What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. We'll wait for some of you guys to get in here. And before we really start this, but a little channel update. What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Everyone coming in here. So we got a little channel update. And I'm obviously, if you can't tell, in a sling, so I'm a little out of commission right now. But still got plans for the channel. Still going to make some stuff happen. Joe, how's everything going up there? Ford for life. Good to see you. Sean, everyone. So anyway, I wanted to do a live feed and kind of, as a topic, have some no start. You like that tree right there? We're very... What's up, Uncle Mike? We're very festive here. So the theme for this live chat was going to be about no start conditions for 6 liters. Guys, I'm going to do a follow-up video based on some questions you guys ask, if you have any. And kind of a lot of my current videos coming out in the next week or so are going to be, or heading into this next week, are actually going to be more diagnosing issues with the 6 liter. And monitoring things, because I just had a tendon repaired. I tore my right bicep 2 months ago, so I just had that repaired. So obviously I can't do much with this arm. So some of the videos aren't going to be much on how-tos, but they are going to still kind of have some good value for those of you guys out there that are newer or unfamiliar with the 6 liter platform on how to diagnose some issues with them. So with all that being said, anybody have questions on no start issues, common causes? If not, I'll just kind of be heading into some common things to look for with it. I'll give you guys a second. And as always, Truck Guy Joe, I'm ready for next year to start. Ready for drag racing season again. Some dyno events. There's one I got to text you about that I'm going to be going to at like the start of the season that has a dyno and drag racing, all at the same venue down in New Jersey. That looked like a cool thing. No, I don't have a no start issue. I haven't started the truck in a few days, so well, I guess like 5 days now. I should probably start it because it's been really cold down here, like low 20s. So do a cold start for you. No, that's not why I'm in a sling. I injured my bicep tendon last year outside the gym and finished it off this year in the gym. So I had my right long head of the bicep reattached. So I had surgery on Friday. I have my first follow-up on next Monday. Will be the first follow-up appointment to see what my restrictions are. I'm hoping to start being able to move my arm more. Like I can move my fingers and stuff like that, but I'm not supposed to really move my arm much away from my body right now. So that kind of sucks. Not really thrilled about that, but it's been a while since I got to a video with you guys. I am going to hopefully hold out till I can have this sling off a little more to shoot a video for you. Just looks a little quirky with it. I like my... Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, this is the second serious injury like this I've had in my lifting career. So I've been through this once before. So we'll get through it again and get back to making the kind of videos I really like. Actually, showing you guys some hands-on stuff is obviously what I like. The one thing this does give me a chance to do is I do have a little bit of a backlog of videos, air testing my high-pressure oil system, also installing a high-pressure oil pump. Those are 2 videos I've been procrastinating on just because I wasn't thrilled with the footage I got. So this will give me some time. I'm off work for at least 1 more week, if not maybe a little longer, but I'm hoping just 1 more week. So in that time, I am hoping to get some of those videos out to you that people have asked about in the past. I'm also going to use this time to, once I'm able to take the sling off, because legally you're not allowed to drive with a sling on. But once I'm allowed to drive, doing some review videos of different tunes I haven't done, getting maybe some new tuners into the channel. Truck Source Diesel is always a frequently requested one. There's one other one I was thinking. Warren Diesel is another one I plan to review soon. But for any of you guys, anyone have no start issues with 6 liters or have any questions about them, maybe a long crank? I know wintertime seems to be the big time to bring all these issues up that people struggle with. I know I've had at least 2 or 3 people messaging me recently about either no start or hard start conditions in their 6 liters. And obviously, guys, always open to any questions you have. Feel free to shoot away here. Gearhead's another one. I hear a lot about Gearhead there. Somebody I am considering doing some. I think what I'm going to do is it seems most people spend either their time in a tow tune or a race tune. So I'm going to get the tow file from each of these people and also the race tune. And that's what I'm going to do my review on. And I plan to shoot these videos in roughly over the course of about 2 weeks. Give 3 or 4 days for the truck to learn the tune, really be able to include a fuel mileage aspect to it along with performance as well. Thanks to Anthony in your wallet. That's one thing that definitely impresses me about Anthony is, people say he's expensive, and I have no idea what he costs for a head gasket job. But he's not just going in and doing head gaskets and sealing everything back and putting it back together. He goes in, he's going to look at your high pressure water pump. He's going to look at your high pressure oil system. If you have dummy plugs that are worn out, he's getting them out of there and he's putting new ones back in. The high pressure oil system itself, or the pump itself, if you have the later style that has the, what's it called? I can't even think of it. The snap to connect fitting, or if you have the updated fitting installed incorrectly, he's taking care of those things. So when people want to say that, you say someone's too expensive, and I mean, when people say they're getting just head gaskets done for like 10 grand, yeah, it's too expensive. But when you're getting essentially a rebuilt motor for whatever he charges, it's a little different comparison. But he definitely does some quality work. I really enjoy his channel. He's not always doing he's not expensive. What's his standard like head gasket job cost? Because I know he goes through everything when he does head gaskets. I have a feeling he offers a pretty good. It's like the mold. The mold. Justin, I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Oh, and the message has been pulled away. Anyway, so while I'm waiting for you guys to leave more comments down here, why don't we start talking a little bit about some no-start conditions, and hopefully that kind of sparks some interest for you guys. So the things to look for if you're having the immediate things you need to look for with some kind of monitor is you need to look for FICM sync, FICM voltage. You get what you pay for. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you want to look at FICM sync, because if that doesn't sync, your truck's not going to start. You also want to look at voltage. You shouldn't see below 47. Unfortunately, I think that's, if you're already doing there, you might as well get a new set of lifters in there. That's my opinion. And let him take a look at, you have the branch tubes off the back of the high pressure oil pump there. Let him take a look at all of those things, because, that most luck for success is going over those small things and making sure that they're done correctly and you don't have worn out O-rings. But also you want to monitor your battery voltage, and high pressure oil pump and your IPR are the most common areas to look for now. Some other causes are crank and cam sync. Those two sensors need to register on there for everything to start as well. You could have everything else perfect, but one of those two sensors will cause a no start as well. So FICM, you want to see greater than 47. your truck will start less than 47. I have seen my brother's truck at one point had a bad FICM, and his truck would still start in like the 30s. It was, I can't believe it started, but it would start in the 30s. So then move over to high pressure oil and IPR. So basically these two values correlate with the other. The IPR controls how much pressure the high pressure oil pump builds in the system. So if your truck is doing a cold start and it is commanding 85% from your IPR, there's a good chance you're looking at a leak somewhere. Now, this could also be that your high pressure oil pump is on its way out and you have a bad IPR. A lot of times when a high pressure oil pump fails, it'll blow junk through your IPR, causing the issue in the first place. So I would say if you have a later style year, by the way, your pump is probably fine. Typically in the later years, you're never going to have, shouldn't say never, but it's very rare that you're going to have a no start caused from your high pressure oil pump itself. It's typically going to be a leak at the snap to connect fitting, standpipe, or dummy plugs. One of those areas is going to be your issue most likely. Yes, I do have an OEM oil cooler still. It is not the original one that came with the truck, but I do have an OEM oil cooler. That's what Josh and I both run. Definitely. I have to stand by that completely. You know, he's going to make sure everything's good. He doesn't want to see, I imagine, and I don't want to speak for him. I'm obviously not him or associated with him in any way. But, you know, if your truck's 12 years old, you might as well replace a Y pipe. And especially with what he does, where he welds in the vibrant flex bellows, you know, a great alternative to it, you know, something to consider. Injectors were causing a no start. Do you know what specifically about your injectors were causing a no start? Was it a leaking O-ring, or was it the cup that I have heard of, like the tops of them breaking, or that top O-ring where the oil presses in there, leaking and causing issues? I would say injectors causing no starts is pretty rare. I know it can happen, but it's not the most common thing. Now, I think where that comes into play is if you've had work done on your truck recently, you're probably at a higher probability of needing issues if somebody didn't install the oil rail correctly, or sometimes people get a little too rough with it and break them. Another good thing to check the cups on the oil rail itself. Now, to talk about early style trucks for just a moment, because they are a little bit of a different animal. Typically, you're not going to have a leak on the early style trucks. You don't have the fail points of the later years that didn't need update. Typically, if you do have a leak, you're typically looking at the J-tube that comes off of the high pressure oil pump. There is an updated cover that has a cutaway for the J-tube. Sometimes they were finding is they're rubbing on the earlier style ones, so that can cause an issue. Outside of that, you're looking at a pump failure or a sensor failure between your IPR or ICP if it's oil related anyway. Easy way to test if it's your ICP sensor is reach back there and unplug it. I've heard of that product, but I don't know. Awesome, I've been taking care of you. Jordan, get out of my live feed. I have not, I've heard of it, but I don't have any experience with it if they're the best or not. I will say this, if Anthony's doing it, I really trust his opinion from what I've seen from all of his videos and stuff. I would definitely follow suit with that. Air pressure, oil, and air was leaking through this. Sort that caused it. But so the early style trucks, well, for any of them, if you have a no start and you're trying to diagnose it, unplug your ICP sensor and try again. because that's going to tell you right off the bat if your ICP sensor failed. More common on the earlier trucks, not as common on later year trucks, but definitely something to look at in regards to that. Anybody have any input or any questions here? We can just keep going. They're the best, guaranteed, no hot start. I do think the nipples on the oil rail are probably the least likely no start issue, but they definitely happen. How long is the average crank time? When in normal weather that's not this cold, my truck probably starts up in the first 2-3 seconds. This cold, you know, it might take a little longer to crank over because it is pretty darn cold, but still, I mean, I wouldn't imagine more than 6. How'd you learn 6 liters? I've done a lot of research on 6 liters, and I've messed around pretty extensively on mine to try to learn as much as I can. And that means along the way I've broken a few things. I've installed things incorrectly that I had to go back and catch dumb user error on my fault or on my part. So definitely a few different things there that are caused by me. And again, what made me kind of want to do this is there's, you know, you go on the forums and you get this like overly negative response from people, which drives me nuts. You know, you go there with a legitimate question. If it had, so what if it's been asked a million times? Ignore it then. Let somebody else answer it. But if it hasn't been, or if someone's new, like you just gotta, you know, everyone gets into vehicles at different times. You know, if you just decide tomorrow to restore, you know, an old 351 Windsor, you know, but your background is 6-liter diesels, you're going to have some questions. It's a whole different setup, and with a carburetor, and what's the best for giving me this power, that power, whatever you're looking for, you know, you're going to have a set of questions. So if every time somebody goes and shoots you down, like that just frustrated me. And some of the answers people give on Facebook pages are horrendous, what I see. You know, just the things people say on the Facebook pages is some of the absolute worst advice I've ever seen. And, you know, when you're trying to genuinely help people, I do spend a fair amount of time trying to comment on there. And again, it's all about helping people with their trucks. And if they're having no starts, I do tend to lean towards no starts, which people have the goofiest responses. If your truck seems like it's cranking over slow, it's battery. Your battery's going to turn everything. If your batteries are dying and it's cranking over slow, you're not going to build enough high pressure oil, which drives the whole system here. And people tend to forget those simple things. Oh, I think the 6-liter is an easy engine to work on. Definitely. I don't find, are there some things that are a pain in the butt? Heck yeah, but definitely not. My dog wants to say hi. Hey, does he? They're definitely not over the top to work on. I don't have any experience with the 6.4 or the 6.7 yet. Maybe, you know, hopefully one day I have some. What's up, Rippin? How are you doing, brother? Hopefully in the future I get some experience with the 6.7 Power Stroke. I really love the look of the 17s and 18s. I think they look awesome. No, so what, Jordan? So no, I did not do all the work. If you go back and look in the, I forget which playlist. I want to say it's the build playlist. There, I have a 6.0 Power Stroke build playlist, and that has all the videos I did leading up to while it was in the shop, update videos on it while it's in the shop. Greg, the owner of Diesel and Automotive, who did what I call the core part of my build. There's video of him pulling the cab and a lot of the stuff he was doing. He filmed a lot of footage of him just working on it. So there's a lot of those things going on out there that kind of led up to this. As far as the top up after the cylinder heads, yeah, I have done that. Not that he didn't have stuff done. My Fickum ignition. Look for Fickum main. You want to Fickum main is the volt. So there's two other values, a logic side, and then I believe the other value is what's coming into the logic side, and that'll read in voltage, and that looks like probably what your alternator is putting out. So at 13.5 to 14 volts, or if that's your Fickum main, your truck's probably not starting. I'd be really shocked to see that. Your voltage looks really good too. So basically what the Fickum does is it's an amplifier. You put 12 volts in, it kicks out 48 volts. That's essentially what its job is. So your voltage going in is good, so your charging system looks fine. The only thing to check would be your batteries starting. You want to keep it up. I mean, especially in the cold, you can't help but have your batteries drain down a little more. But having it higher up, hopefully above 10 while cranking, hopefully you only see that low number for a second, and then it should kick back up at like 12.3, 12.5 before your glow plugs turn off. I have no real experience with Bill Hewitt at Powerstroke Help. I will say I've looked into his product, and again, he seems to have some pretty good intentions, the same as Anthony at Super Duty Service. He O-rings all the cylinder heads. He has aftermarket castings that are in line with prices as far as Kill Devil Diesel, who I used in my build. I'm not sure what all is involved, because he does offer the lifetime warranty. My questions would be, what are my tuning options? What am I allowed to do that you will still warranty? What turbo and what injectors I can do as well. If you want to be a little more than the average 6-liter out there, I would, you want to put slightly bigger injectors, a 175/30, a 155 stock. I think 190/30s, you start pushing more, but if he's going to still warranty that with a stage 2 type turbo, then man, 12 grand sounds a little salty. And when I say 12 grand sounds salty, it sounds salty for, I know you're probably getting I don't know that he does new injectors. I feel like he reseals your injectors. I would need an exact build sheet of what all is going new in my truck. And somebody did clarify they think he warranties his tunes only. I would ask about upgrades and what that includes. Now, I have not heard bad experiences from anybody that has used Bill Hewitt. So, like I said, I don't have experience with him, so I don't want to bash the guy. I do think somebody commented about his crazy expensive trucks that he sells. He does sell like $34,000 10-year-old truck. Sounds a little ridiculous to me. Anyway, getting off topic, but Ford for Life, 12 grand gets you a motor from Anthony. I believe in, I don't know if he has an Instagram. His shop name is Super Duty Service. He does do YouTube, Anthony Youngblood, and he has 2 channels, I believe, Anthony Youngbloods and Super Duty Service as well. And he has lots of stuff. He does all his own machining. He keeps it all in house. Let me tell you, he knows how to build a motor. And one thing, this is one thing I really respect about him, but I disagree with him at the same time, is he is completely anti-hot rodding 6-liters. I am very pro hot rodding a 6-liter. Obviously, as the channel has shown if you followed us, but at the same time, he's going to do great quality work for your truck. If you know it's going to be put back together right, he has a ton of happy customers out there. So something to definitely look into there. I believe I saw an increase when I did my Blue Spring, but my fuel pump was also, it did reveal that my fuel pump was dying as well. Now I have a fast fuel system, so it is hard to compare because I'm pushing a fair amount more fuel up to the truck than just the standard Ford pump would. I feel like I missed a question in here. Sweeney, I just did oil cooler H-pop standpipe branch tubes. In my opinion, I would not do the nipple cups unless you know you have an issue. That being said, it's not a bad idea to do, but I will say if you don't know how to do it and do it right, I have heard of people having issues with trying to do them themselves. So something to consider. Sweeney, I'm not saying you can't do it. Obviously, you just did a ton of work, but I believe there's some type of specialty tool you need is more what I'm getting at. So something to consider there. But if you don't have an issue, me personally, my truck has when it was in the shop, 180,000 miles. I didn't have those resealed. I didn't have an issue. So I don't recommend it unless you have a known issue. Matt, welcome to the channel, man. We love 7.3s too. My old man has a 7.3. Well, I'm not anymore. I was gonna put injectors in. Now Greg at Diesel Automotive is gonna put injectors in. So we're gonna have his truck on the channel, just doing a little before and after, because his truck is slow, but it's a stock 7.3. Sweeney, I'm not sure. Maryland Performance Diesel is the only Maryland shop I know of. I'm not sure where they are in that, but I hear good things about them. They can be a little, I have heard people say they're a little abrupt. I did contact them for my build, and I just, we had a difference of opinion on some things, and, it just didn't pan out. But at the same time, they make some pretty awesome stuff out there for 6 liters, and they're really pushing some 6.7 products. I think they have one of the nicest intake piping setups for the 6.7 powerstroke. Ashland. I'm a huge fan of Ford guy. I love that you put about the cam in there. I'm a huge fan of my Stage 2 Colt cam. I think Asheville has their own cam that's a Stage 2, but I am a huge fan of it. Definitely can tell a huge difference in what they do, but I love it. What type of monitoring system? For monitoring, I do Torque Pro for most of it, and I have a gauge for exhaust temps and fuel pressure. I'm looking to find a gauge that I can just have like 3 in 1, and the only company that makes one right now that has the 3 I want, that I can just hardwire it all up, that doesn't read off the OBD2 port, is Glow Shift. And I have not had one of my current gauges is Glow Shift. I've not had bad experience with them, but I was looking to stay a little more higher end for my monitoring, and I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I have some companies I want to call and ask about their gauges to see, but the bulk of what I use is Torque Pro. PSP definitely has built quite the reputation for building 6-liters. I obviously will recommend Diesel Automotive in Brownstown, PA. Great guy to work with. But at the same time, I don't know that Sweeney can necessarily get his truck to some of those places that not everybody's able to make those long distances to some of these better known shops. I have nothing against Edge Insight at all. I think Edge is some of the best monitoring stuff out there. What I don't like is it looks like I have a GPS in my truck at all times, and I really would be upset if somebody broke my window to steal said device, because that's the other thing, is they're expensive. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age where getting carjacked or people breaking windows to steal stuff is real. So that's kind of something that's always on my mind there. I do like that Edge does have the pod you can put on your dash to really make it blend in, but I just don't want to take the chance of someone breaking into my truck. That would upset is an understatement as to what that would do. I don't know what Jimmy Jammers are, but I want to Google them right now because it's kind of a catchy name. Well, I was more concerned with someone just breaking my window open. Sweetie, the one thing I want to say about that is I feel lucky to have found a shop like Diesel Automotive by me. I would imagine that by you somewhere probably definitely has a shop like that, because you don't hear Diesel Automotive outside our community. Hopefully that changes, because he does do some killer work, and really just feel confident with everything that's come out of his shop with my truck on it, that he's done to my truck, I should say. So, don't be afraid to try a shop that's lesser known, because sometimes those shops are doing even better work than some of the better known shops, Excuse me. Yeah, Sweeney, they probably thought it was a GPS, but at the same time, I think in today's day and age, people also realize how expensive those monitors are. And I think a lot of times people realize that they're more expensive than GPSs in a lot of instances, and I think they're being targeted now. That's why I've never run one in my truck. I love them. I think they're cool. I would love to run one, but at the same time, I just it gives me a little bit of anxiety knowing that I feel like it puts my truck at a higher chance of getting broken into. So anybody in the chat here have more questions we can get to? I think the no start will just have to wait more for a formal video to see if to put something a little more professional together for you guys. Things to stay excited about, guys, is there is still a turbo upgrade for the truck coming. Hopefully in the very near future. I'm going to check my email right now for you guys. See if anything comes up. But there is hopefully that's a great price for an Edge Insight, or for the CTS2 Insight. So there's a turbo upgrade coming to the truck. I am officially looking at transmission options. See, sweetie, that's exactly what would happen to me. Is I would get too relaxed and I'd stop taking it down. Plus, it's just a pain in the butt. If you're in a hurry, do you really want to worry about pulling your monitor out all the time? It's a shame that that's, the world we live in, that you have to worry about things like that. Rippin60, you weren't in for me to say this, but if you've noticed, I'm kind of slang here. So the 05 axle swap has come to a screeching halt until I am able to do more. I am hopeful to soon be moving this arm more and getting back to work within about another week here. But until I'm allowed to do more with this arm, the 05 axle is kind of on the back burner, unfortunately. Sweeney, probably not. Now, if you had, I don't think you'd end up with a no start off one bad injector. Now, I do know on 7.3s, bad injectors make your cold starts in cold weather harder, but I would be shocked. I have not heard of it. Now, I have heard of one of the nipples on the oil rail leaking can cause it. Rippin, I tore my right bicep tendon. So last Friday, I had surgery to repair it. So I have a small incision, like maybe this long, going down my bicep, where they went in and pulled the tendon back up and put it back in where it's supposed to. Andrew, thank you. Appreciate that. I do not do well being stuck at home, not being able to do anything. So I'm going a little stir crazy. But so it's only like 5 days since surgery. Griffin, thank you, brother. I am definitely excited to get back doing stuff. However, no matter what, when the turbo comes, we will be getting that installed. I'll go over to Diesel and Automotive, have him put that on for me. I do prefer to do things on my own, but we'll have Greg take care of it. Ford guy, I'm not having any noticeable issues with the transmission. However, we are planning on making 600 horsepower in the truck, and it should pass what the stock transmission can handle. I do have concerns if maybe it's not holding quite as well right now, but it's hard to tell without tearing the whole transmission apart. But I am looking for options out there. Sawdust helps. I've heard sawdust helps for a bit, but I'm not having any issues at the moment. So ideally, what I'd like to do is probably get one that is in need of rebuild. It's still better than Greg A transmissions. Yeah, he had a tough run there. What a shame! I was really looking forward to watching his truck do some good passes, and I was gonna ask if I could race him one fat day, even though my truck is nowhere in the ballpark of horsepower of that thing. But just for fun, just to race it, would have been a blast. But that didn't happen because on his first pass there was issues. He grenaded that whole case. But the goal for this truck is to make 600 on a race tune. If it's at 590. I'll be happy with the turbo and injector setup I'm looking at. I definitely think we'll be in that realm of reality. Oh yeah, you got to give him heck. You can't let him off easy. In all honesty, Greg A is a really, really nice guy, and I've gotten to talk to him a few times, and just very, very kind person. and humble. You know, he's not over the top, despite, you know, he shows up with, you know, this monster new dually and this beautiful freaking trailer with the race truck in it on top of it. You know, you're probably talking, you know, $130,000 right there wrapped up easy. And, you know, just such a nice guy. Panama City chiming in. Diesel fumes may speed your recovery. So let's see, we got new ICP, new IPR. William, did you have a no start issue prior to doing all that work? Let's start there. See if we can help this guy out. Ripping 6 of those are goals. Real life goals for me. It's an 06. So, William, I'm going to say if you have any way to monitor your truck as far as what your ICP, your IPR are doing, if you have what your FICM voltage is, any of those things, do you have that ability? I'd like to be able to help you the best I can. Okay, so you had issues before. So I'm going to say, well, let's start with your issue before. Did you have a cold start issue? Whereas if it was cold, it was still having issues. And was it worse or better when the truck was warm? What's the weather like in Panama City? Because that will also, I don't know how cold really gets. Let's see here. Yeah, you're not cold. 50-some degrees, so that's it. Okay. So with an 06, most likely causes are you've changed out the sensors. So your most likely cause would be an oil leak, most likely in one of 3 locations. The snap to connect fitting, which if you pull your high pressure oil pump cover off, is back there. There's an updated fitting that your truck may need. Now also, when doing this, be very careful, because anything that falls in there is going to go right into everything. And you know, if you drop a bolt or something down there, it can find your the gears at the back of the engine and destroy your truck. So be very, very cautious not to drop anything in there. Now, if you do drop something, best case scenario, it lands in the oil pan. It's not going to get sucked up. That is your best case scenario. William, now are you able to, you've changed a lot of things, so I'm not sure if you just changed them to change them because you weren't sure what was wrong, or if there was a monitored value that you had issues with. Do you have like a Torque Pro or an Edge Insight, a scan gauge, any of those things that you can use to monitor things? Because basically what I need to know is I need to know your ICP voltage, not voltage. Oh, that's right. I started talking about snap to connect fitting and didn't talk about those two. The snap to connect fitting and then your standpipes and dummy plugs are your most common leak points. If you don't know if yours have been updated, I just recommend people to update them. If you're having an issue, just update them, because if you're not now, you're going to in the future. But if you can try cranking your truck over while reading values on your cell phone with like Torque Pro, I do a very short video on it. I plan to do a better video talking about Torque Pro. and what it can do for monitoring things. But that's kind of where we need to go, where you've replaced a lot of parts that can cause no starts. ForeScan is another one. I actually downloaded ForeScan. I just haven't gotten a chance to play with it much yet to do a video on it, but I do plan on doing a Torque Pro and ForeScan comparison video down the road, of course, but that's neither here nor there. Did we lose William? I hope not. William, I also have an Instagram that is the same as the channel, but after the 0, put an H, so it's 6.0H Bros is the Instagram. There should be a link. If you go to my channel page here, there should be a link in the banner across the top to the Instagram page. And besides commenting on any video I have on the channel, I respond to everybody. I'll get that. As far as just want to let you know, I'm definitely here to help you out and help you get your no start fixed. It's definitely one of the videos I should do while I'm out of work is monitoring the 6.0, definitely. Especially this time of year, everyone's realizing their glow plugs are bad or their batteries are bad, and working through those no start issues. William, thank you, definitely. And any questions, feel free. I get back to everybody on the channel that comments, just like I get to pretty much everyone on Instagram as well, all about just trying to help. I wouldn't be much good in my current condition as far as helping fix anything, but you just replaced a bunch of parts. If you can replace those parts, you can do pretty much anything on a 6-liter. Sweeney, his truck is an 06, unless you were wondering about mine. I have the early 04. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll be back we're on the mend now, and we're going to be making some stuff happen come springtime. I should start. I'll probably be on pretty light duty for the next 3 months, and after that, hopefully I can start doing some stuff, even if it's small things, but definitely by my goal is May to put my bigger injectors in. By May, my goal is to have my transmission done, bigger injectors and the turbo, and really start making some good numbers, doing some good track times. And, the whole point of this build is to have a fun daily that tows my camper as well, which is roughly 13,000 pounds. So this is kind of a jack of all trade thing. He shouldn't need to, his high pressure oil pump system should be primed though. He could be, William, here's one thing you can do without any tools is take your oil, make sure you don't have there's an oil filter cap that's this tall. You want the one that's this, that's half the size. That's the correct one, because if you using a Ford filter and the other filter top that's not Ford, you can run into issues there. But so make sure you have a Ford filter cap and a Ford filter, and open that up and have somebody just turn your truck on. Turn the electrics on and try to crank it, and make sure oil should fill in that cap or in the filter housing pretty quick. Obviously, before it gets too high, tell them to stop. But That's one way you can kind of tell and make sure you have what they'll reference as base oil pressure, which is basically what your low pressure oil pump provides to the high pressure oil pump. So if you're not getting pressure from there to your high pressure oil pump, you can have issues. It's pretty rare, but it does happen at the same time. Ford guy, but you shouldn't have to, just from doing an oil change, you shouldn't have to prime your oil system, because if you drain your oil, the reservoir that feeds the high pressure oil pump doesn't drain. This trucker talking, dummy plugs got scared on him. Just up and quit. Yeah, the low pressure oil pump isn't a very common failure point, but since you don't have all the stuff to diagnose and everything like that right away, it is an easy thing to check for and rule out. At the end of the day, you want to rule out as much as you can. There's no we should be definitely, from the community that we have here on the channel, here and on the Instagram, is doing pretty well. Somebody will be able to help you and get you through this. And, it sounds like you've done a fair amount. Dummy plugs are super easy. We have videos on pulling the high pressure, or pulling the turbo and putting the turbo back in, which is what you would need for your high pressure oil pump. So there is no need to worry. We'll be able to get you through this and have you doing it yourself if you're even interested in that, which it sounds like you kind of are. These are the things I really love about the channel, is that, someone can come in here with an issue, and it's not just me. We have a community here that can help people through some of these issues with their experiences. And obviously, I don't have every 6-liter experience. I'm hoping to not get every 6-liter experience out there, but you guys have seen just as much as me, so it's kind of nice to have that information come to this platform and help others out. So if nobody else has any questions, I think I'm gonna probably shut this down. Before we do, though, any video recommendations that you guys have that you would like to see on the channel, I'd love to hear now. You've ever done one? I tried to get one in a little earlier. My goal is to get a video to you guys. I'm going to probably start trying to go through some of my older stuff and editing that. But to get a new, fresh material video to you guys next week, related to no start issues, things to look for, what they could be. So kind of some scenarios of what trucks might do and what to look for from there. So any video recommendations, guys, that you have or want to see, definitely let's hear them. We're going to close up here in the next minute. So want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out. Sorry for my for not having a video out to everybody here recently, but I'm going to be working on fixing that in the near future, getting more videos to you guys. They obviously won't be me installing parts anytime soon, but we'll get some stuff together on some good information for people in a video series. Bluegrass, man, thanks for popping in. Sorry to catch you at the tail end, man. Fix the clock. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty off. I'm not fixing that clock right now because I can't get it off, but I will definitely harass my mom about that in 2 minutes. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming in. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for being patient with me. Merry Christmas, Matt. Thank you, Bluegrass. And we guys take care. Any questions, comment in any of the videos, I'll get back to you guys, and I'll see you next time.